also a reflection on your standardized exams until they get rid of them with the MCAT, you win. So I wouldn't worry as much about that. There are probably certain schools that it might be a little bit tougher depending upon what that did to your GPA, and they're only looking at numbers, but supposedly most of the schools are not just looking at the numbers. We read the actual schools and the grades and the courses. So I can sit there and go, what school is this? Is this UCLA? Is this Harvard University? Is this Cal State, whatever, with an F? Versus, is this Stanford University with an F? All I'm saying is, if you're competitive, you're competitive. And if you take the course again and do well, you do well. So yes, we see it, but that does not mean you're not going to get in. Same thing with the MCAT. I saw an application the other day. This student had like the 50th and the 40th percentile across the board. I mean, the scores, the MCATs were like, I don't know, 400. I mean, I don't know what the lowest score is, but it was terrible. And I was like, whew, oh baby. But then if you look at the grades, he was not an excellent student, but you could definitely see a stronger trend. Very strong in the community, really good student. And then the second MCAT he took, probably 3 years later, ooh, this boy blew it out the box. His lowest percentile was like the 75th. Everything else was 90th and above. I was so proud. And that was a Black man. So you know I was screaming about him, and he got in. So yes, there are people like me, I pray, more than not, that sit on these advisory boards, sit on the selection committees, and we do advocate for students just like you. As well as the white students that, you know, if they do well, they do well. Gotta let them in. But that ain't gonna stop you. So keep that in mind. Ain't gonna stop you. Keep on doing what you're doing. Other questions? Yvette, I see you out there sitting on your patio. You have any questions? Or words of wisdom as a family practitioner, went to UCLA, had quite the journey, amazing physician.
I just always say, you know, don't give up. Don't let anyone discourage you. We've all had stories of your grades aren't good enough, you're not going to get in. We've all heard some negativity along the way, and you just have to persevere. If this is what you want, you have to really, really push for it, and you have to really do well. But you have to have the mindset that, you know, I'm not going to let anyone, you know, shut me down before I realize that I'm not cut out for this yourself. Don't let anyone discourage you. Keep on going. So yeah, you can make up your Fs. You can, you know, redo an MCAT. You can ask for help. You can have us help you with your applications and your essays, but don't give up if you know this is something you want to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because when they ask you the question, and they will, why do you want to be a doctor? The answer to that question should be a reflection in your soul of why you want to be the person delivering care, perhaps in your community, perhaps from a special experiences you've had, but also that physicians are leaders. And that's a difference when people say, well, you could help people. Because, you know, I do that to y'all. We had that meeting when I said, well, you could be an EMT. You could be a nurse. You could be a teacher. So you want to help people. You can do a whole lot of stuff. Why do you want to be a doctor? And especially a Black doctor, Black female doctor. What's unique to you? Why? We less than 2% of all physicians in the nation. You'd be joining a very, very small crowd. What makes you unique? And that basics is academics for sure. We know you can handle it. What are your reasons? And so those are the things that really put it together. Somebody had a question here about questions about New York versus California and putting a list together. Well, the same list in California, the same one it is in New York. 9 medical schools in California, including the UCs, write them all down. Write down all the Black schools. I'm gonna tell you to do that, all right? And then pick schools where you wanna live, you don't mind living, you got family there, or there's more Black folks and you willing to deal. That's it. And academically, what are you looking for? Do you want a more research-based education? Do you want a more rural setting? Do you want a more urban setting? Or are you one of the people that say, Lord, I just want to just get in? Get that idea out of your mind. You want to get in because you are going to be an excellent physician. There's nothing desperate about this process. Please don't be that way. You have what it takes. I am here to tell you that it's true. You can do it. Make sense? More questions. And Verena is doing a fantastic job. Verena is over here. She's our, you guys know her. She's our 4th year, soon to be graduate from UCLA. And she's just a wonderful coordinator for us, for the students. And so she can answer a lot of questions. She has been with us since her 1st year. We're very proud. And there's lots of students on this call too that have been with us a long time. So I'm very proud of them. And their mentors are here. LaTanya White is a mentor. I'm talking too much. LaTanya, talk. Somebody.
Tanya, I just want to add that everything you said is absolutely true about choosing where you want to go to medical school. And since I'm born and raised in California, I wanted to make sure that I didn't choose a place that was cold and snowing and didn't have family. So you definitely, if you know that you want to go to medical school, but you don't want to be in the snow, New York is not for you. So I wouldn't even put it on the list.
Right.
You really have to be careful about that. I mean, I remember interviewing, and what made me think of this, I remember interviewing at the University of Iowa, and I had a friend that was there that encouraged me to interview because I would have never gone, and it wasn't even snowing. I was layered 5 times, and I was still freezing. I said, this is not going to work for me. So medical school is too stressful in general to not be comfortable in the seasons if you don't want to be in the snow. So that's a real consideration when you're thinking about applying.
And it could be it's just that subtle. I don't like cold weather. Don't apply to cold places. It just is what it is.
I remember University of Michigan, Case Western in Ohio. I remember Chicago, University of Chicago. I was like, oh my goodness. Not that I'm not from Boston. I've seen some snow, but I was like, I can't be here by myself for 4 years. And I was lucky I got into a UCLA school, to a California school, but that was real.
Yeah.
And see, and for me, I'm from Michigan, but I've been living here in California, and I only applied to California and Michigan. Those were the only 2 places I was willing to go. I got accepted in Michigan, took the first one, and I left.
There you go. And she's back in California.
Yep.
Okay.
And then when I came back, I applied to residencies from Ventura all the way down to Long Beach and came back.
There you go. There you go. So there's always the opportunity to go back and forth. I want to put out there this talent that you have. Just the people on this call. I'm gonna have to say it because I feel the energy on the call. Can I just say that you guys have the genetic material in you from our ancestors that were on that Middle Passage? Can I say that?
Woo,
that are the people
that
have survived? Y'all undergrads. How many people did you guys know that never got into undergrad? I ain't talking to no high school people. I'm talking to undergrad and graduate students. I'm talking to pre-med students that have formed in their mind that they're going to take biology, chemistry, physics, and math because they know they can take the course. Maybe they didn't do great the first time. Sometimes they did good, sometimes not, but they go into med school. Y'all need to understand just how special and amazing you are. Please know that. So when I say that you are ready to go to med school, or maybe we should turn this application in a little bit later, okay, that doesn't make you any less exceptional. You are all leaders in your own right now. We are just guides along the way that I believe have been placed here to just help you. So please don't ever think that somehow or another you're like, oh, this is never gonna work. What am I gonna do? Stop all that thinking. Remember who you are. Please know that. Okay? Next question. What are we talking about now? I see Bianca. Hi, boo. Howard University in the house. Okay, this came back to California. Let's see here. Remain persistent. Yes. Lisa, do you know any MD, PhD students or PhD students currently doing research who can connect you to PIs? Girl, no. I mean, I know our MD, PhD student that works out of Cal Poly and in Pasadena. I
think Lisa.
Well, if you're a med student, that's the fastest way to get to the PI. You see what I'm saying? Versus if you're an undergrad, I don't know how you hook up with the labs just yet. It's tough. I swear to God, this is just a rough year. You know what I mean? We just don't have a whole lot of person-to-person interaction for good reason. So just know that the admissions committee knows that, all right? I'm on the admission committee. And I'm reading the application knowing that whereas people got 1,000 hours of scribing or 1,000 hours or whatever they're doing, 500, they lying. But anyway, that stuff, that's not going to be on the application right now, and it's due to COVID. One of our secondary questions is about how has COVID affected you? That's how important it is at the Kaiser School of Medicine. And I can't imagine that that question won't be asked at any of your interviews or any of your secondary applications. It's that important. So if you say, I was looking forward to being part of a shadowing experience with such and such, I was looking forward to being a scribe and I got in, but I didn't have the opportunity to do so. These are things that we want to know that you had anticipated, things that were happening. Did someone in your family unfortunately succumb to the virus? How did that affect you? Did that make you stronger in your thoughts about going into medicine? Or did it change your thoughts about infectious disease or some specialty? Those are questions you think deeply about. We hear you. So nope, I don't know about the research part, but I'm hoping that by the, the winter season, January, February, the things will get a little bit better because we should be better at this. You know what I'm saying? At that point, maybe the president will be gone, although he physically will not go nowhere, even if he's voted out until January, and he will wreak, I'm sure, plenty havoc before he leaves. And if he doesn't leave, he will continue to wreak havoc. So we have to anticipate, no matter what's going on in the White House and what's happening with this pandemic, but that we will need to do what we can to take care of ourselves, okay? 48 new messages, Lord have mercy. Marina and Lauren, are you seeing a theme with some of these questions?
I was trying to get us on Facebook.
Okay.
Give me a second.
I love the do not despair, do not become discouraged. Absolutely. You're right, getting smarter and stronger with every experience. I don't know about you. I took OChem and got a D. Right now, carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. I got that much. But all of them equations and enzymes and dehydration and, oh, Jesus. I took the class again, and I only took that with 2 art classes. And I got a B+. And the lab, too, I got 2 Bs. I didn't get an A, but I figured I needed a whole lot of time to devote to that class at UCLA. So I learned my lesson. I know what my strengths are. And chemistry, at least organic chemistry and molecular chemistry, is not it. But biology, I take that class, a whole bunch of other classes. Didn't matter how hard the biology class was. I just loved it. So it just depends on the person. Same thing with physics. Physics is, I like physics because it's very plain. It's right to the point. It's like, this is the theory, this is whatever. But you figure out what your strengths are. Take the courses as best you can. But remember, for med school, if you're not doing your best, or you're not in a position where you can do your best, then please know that will be a reflection on your application. So if you say, I just took the class, I did the best I could, I got a C-, you know what I'm gonna say. Take it again, okay? Rebecca, I see Rebecca down there. I see some people that we haven't heard from. Exactly, everybody's giving good information there. So we have agenda less. They always say, Dr. Hines, we never get a chance to ask questions. You know, we always feel like, you know, well, questions. No question is a bad question. No questions are dumb questions. There's a bunch of people probably got the same question. Danielle?
I was just going to add that it looks like the thread is like, how do we get connected with folks in the time of COVID? And I think for those who kind of missed the first few moments or the first few minutes of the session, I think as everyone has been saying in the chat, it's just really important for you to take advantage of your network. So if you're an undergraduate student, like if you know any med students that are, you know, at the local medical school, reaching out to them to see if they have any ideas or any opportunities, taking advantage of this call, taking advantage of ABWP, any physicians that you know in the area, like we said, reaching out for case reports and so on and so forth, using Google to just Google people who may be working in the field. If there's an email attached to their name, emailing them, following up. And then Dr. Walker also mentioned, like, reaching out via social media. There's a lot of physicians who have Twitter profiles or Instagrams. And if you have, a nice professional account or, a basic account that you can feel comfortable reaching out to some of these researchers and community workers and so on and so forth, then go ahead and do that. I mean, now is the time to really take advantage of the network that you have, wherever that may be. Or if you don't have one, then to establish that for yourself and really use these social networks and Zooms and everything like that to really establish relationships with folks. So I think, as everyone has been saying, really being proactive and engaged with the social virtual aspect of these times.
Especially SNMA. I think people really, really, really need to remember that the Student National Medical Association is the student section of the National Medical Association, which is our equivalent to AMA. So the American Medical Association was established, I think, in like 1885 or something, like 84, whatever. It's 2 years before us. And then 2 years later, which I think is 1885, is NMA. And so we are the equivalent, and to me better, version of AMA. And then we have a student section, just like AMA has a student section, and it's SNMA. So I would encourage you that you have the American Medical Association, you have the American Medical Student Association, you have the Student National Medical Association. So all the things that are available to, let's be plain, white students and Asian students are available to you. So please take advantage of those opportunities. Don't think just because it says the American Medical Student Association that somehow is just for white students. Go on the website, click on the button, and find out about what resources they have available to you, especially because COVID is affecting everyone, not just you, everybody. So ABWP can be a resource, but we can only do so much because we're dealing with it too. And we can't bring students per se on the floor unless it's required. Not lately. The students our medical students can come with internal medicine. They're only there for a couple days a week, and we do the best we can. Get your letters of recommendation now from your science teachers and undergrad. Yep. Making those relationships now. I agree. I so agree. If you're very interested in a particular class, go to office hours or call them on the Zoom call. Let them know your first, your last name, your mama name. Let them know how interested you are in being attentive in their class. These are people that have taught for, Lord have mercy, so many years usually, and so many students. They want to hear from you. They got big egos. So you tell them how excited you are to be in their class, they're going to be interested in what you're doing. They may give you the benefit of the doubt on the test because you're so interested. These are things that are important. Okay? Charles Drew postback, good postback, yep. Different things. Another thing too about money, because I think a lot of students, they tell me about, well, should I do it informal versus formal? I don't really know. I think they really do know. They just think they don't want to put the money in. So let's be clear. Anytime you pay for something, to some extent, you get what you pay for. So a formal program says, this is the program, it's academic, you apply for it, and you get selected if you get in. Once you're in the program, they have certain benefits to being in that program because that program has a relationship with the medical school at that university or relationships with other medical schools throughout the area or the state. So when they say that they have had successful students go through their program, they know because their students have matriculated at these medical schools. So that's a very different and probably the best aspect as opposed to informally doing a post-bac program if your grades ain't up to snuff. The reason is because they can help you with that as opposed to you trying to do it on your own. And loans, I'm sorry, med school on average is $60,000 a year, depends on the school, but that's just UCLA. Georgetown's 100. So you're not gonna get out of this process free of charge. You're gonna be in debt. Now, you can give your life to the service, and the Army people give them 2 years, give them 3 years, whatever you gotta do, you get paid off. Oh, I love LaTanya because she's gonna tell you her story about her loans. So it can be done. It can be done, but if you thinking about money and that's the reason why you ain't gonna do it, don't do that. LaTanya.
So I was just gonna say, not only about the loans, hi guys, how are you? Not only about the loans, but I didn't even know medical school had scholarships. And literally my second year in, I got a letter. I didn't apply for anything. I didn't ask for anything, but I did know somebody in the financial aid office And I got a letter that said my tuition was paid for and they were making it retroactive the second year. And I didn't even know they had medical school scholarships. So just to throw that out there. And then the other caveat that Dr. Hines was saying is I did pay my student loans off in 3 years. So don't let that hold you back.
Yes. So just keep that in mind. If money is going to hold you back because you're like, I just don't want to be in debt and I don't want to do such and such, because you got to have a job and you got to take care of the things that are important to you. I would say that probably one of the biggest obstacles to doing well is getting a job, getting a car note and some rent. Because now you got to have a job in order to pay for those things on top of trying to keep up with your academics, versus moving in with your mama and them broke as hell. You don't necessarily need whatever money you have, and what you do have, you can save and then spend the time in order to academically get ready. Now, can you take that MCAT and be ready within 6 weeks to really do justice to it? Yes. Can you do a post-bac program in a year? Some of them are 2 years. Yes. You put the time in, you're done. What I've seen with most people with their informalized programs, if that's a word, is that they go here and there, they're flitting like little butterflies. Well, I can only take this class this time. I can only do this time. Dude, and especially if they don't do well. So immense immersion, done. Apply, finish, you're in. Versus, well, I've been at this for so many years and this is just what works for me. Okay. If that's what works for you, fine. Everybody has a different journey. But if it's about money, let it go and be broke, because you're going to be broke for quite some time. So just get used to it.
I just wanted to
chime in on that.
comment let her go. I have to go in a minute. I'll just wait.
Yes.
Go ahead. You go first, I'll go second.
Just really quickly, I was going to say, in terms of like studying and what have you for the MCAT, is I was working full time when I had to study for the MCAT. I didn't have the finances to pay for a Kaplan course or what have you. And so I went to work and I came home and I studied for 4 hours every single night, 8 hours on Saturday and Sunday for 3 months straight. And I didn't answer my phone. I wouldn't talk to anybody for 3 months straight. And I took that exam and I said, and whatever I get, I know I did my best and I'm applying. And that's what I did. So just keep that in mind. Sometimes it's that motivation too. I was out here in California by myself. I didn't have any family out here. My friend had her boyfriend at the time paid for her to take the Kaplan course, and she gave me her password. That's how I got questions. So just keep that in mind. Sometimes a lot of it is that motivation behind it, and you just have to keep pushing. I just wanted to say that before I left this tent and went to go eat, because I've been in here for 6 hours.
We thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, take care, guys. Stay safe. Stay safe, guys.
All right,
Yes,
bye.
yes.
All right.
And Dr. Chumley and I met in Kaplan and studied at a LMU library every day.
Yes,
Sure
yes.
did,
Find your little study groups.
Sure did.
Remember?
I remember. I was just telling my husband about that as soon as we got on the line. I said, yeah, we study.
You gotta find your study groups.
Well, yeah, you got to, again, even just one person, it's like accountability. If you know you're going to meet someone, you're not going to stand them up. But I wanted to talk about the finances. I think when I graduated, I was $300,000 in debt. Again, LaTanya is 100%, Dr. Hines is 100% correct. You cannot let the money or lack thereof stop you. Even though I didn't know that it was going to be $300,000, I just knew that I was going to medical school, hook or crook, it didn't matter. So you can't let that deter you. And if they may have talked about it, because I think I jumped on the call a little late. They are National Health Service Corps. Some places like, for example, Watts Healthcare and other federally qualified health centers in different states have, where you give them 2 years, they pay back 4. So there's other opportunities for you to work in the community if that's what you choose to do, where some of your money, if not all of your money, will be repaid. So again, you can't let that deter you either. There's other ways that you can have that money paid back. And I was like, I think it was Dr. White. I had a full-time job too up until 2 weeks before I went to medical school. So you can't have. There's no excuses.
There you go. You will be a doctor for the rest of your life. What is a year or two difference gonna make? Okay. And yes, you will make enough money to take care of yourself. So don't let that deter you. So I don't know of any medical profession where you cannot function, okay? You will be able to purchase a home, maybe a few of them, depending upon what state you choose to live in. You will be able to make payments on your loans and keep that under control, including having a quality lifestyle. Being a physician is still in this country, and I can't imagine it will change probably within my lifetime, that it is still a very stable profession. It is a needed profession. It's never going away. And although technologically things are changing and advancing, there will always be needed someone to translate clinical information, to be a resource of evidence-based information, to make decisions when perhaps you can't, to help guide you through life's challenges from birth to death. That is just a few of the things that you will do each day as a physician. So being broke, it's only for a short period of time, okay? So somebody else said, so we're talking about MCATs and post-bacs and all that other stuff. So is the MCAT going away? No, not yet. And please don't act like it is. So just keep going and studying hard until it goes. And I don't know if it's going to be gone in the next few years, especially with COVID. I think that if COVID hadn't happened, we might have been able to get rid of this MCAT in the next couple of years. But with everything going on, we need every type of academic resource we can use to kind of identify who's going to be a good physician. And now, since we can't even talk to you in person, we got to figure out online whether you are sane or not, and whether the rigors of medical school are going to be either okay for you or too much for you. Okay, that's very important. Jasmine Bryant, scholarship funding, excellent. This is the chat. We will save the chat and make sure that that goes out to everyone who is registered, so that you have these resources. There are several organizations out there that are doing similar things online, like pre-med advising. We, as an organization, we've been around now, it'll be 40 years next year. We give out scholarships, it's coming up. People, if you're interested in wanting to be an assistant, a student ambassador, shoot, you can finagle that on your application and say that you were shadowing. I mean, there's a lot you can do. So please don't feel like, you know, because you're going to be helping the heck out of us. And even though it's for a short period of time, I think it's enormously fulfilling to be around people that you can just talk to. You know, the brain surgeon, the orthopedic surgeon, the internal medicine, the family practitioner, ER physician, the OBGYN. I mean, how often do you get to be in a room or on Zoom with all these people and be on a first name basis? It just doesn't happen. And we're more than happy to do that for you. And once you become a physician, we strongly encourage you to apply, med student, for that 5,000 plus scholarship that we give every year, 4,000 to 5,000. And that's free. All you gotta do is apply. And you get the scholarship every year unless you say something crazy in that application. That is an amazing thing we do. And I'm very, very proud to be a part of that. So that's a little bit of something, you know, $5,000 check in your pocket, not too bad when you're a freshman. Just saying. We have some folks who are not from LA. Welcome, absolutely welcome. The pathway and road to med school is the same in Los Angeles as it is in Maine, Boston, Miami, don't matter. You gotta work. No easy road. Anybody else? We go all the way to 3:30. I said 3:30. I see a whole bunch of names here. Are you guys just afraid to talk? Sabrina Montgomery. I've been staring at you the whole time. You and Omalade and Detriana. Talk to me.
Hi,
What year are you in?
I graduated UCLA in 2018, so I'm a post-bac student right now.
Okay.
I just finished I asked the question because I just finished doing informal post-bac with UCLA Extension, but now I think I'm going to be applying to formal post-bacs, like just with you guys' advice and talking to, you know, some UC Davis advisors. I think I'm going to go ahead and apply there.
Excellent. And there's a great response here from Dr. Judy Hunter Davis, who is just an icon in the field of medicine, who talked about that she tried to be broke and live with her parents and they weren't as supportive of her. So she had to put herself in a better environment. And of course, she has been quite successful. But I love that in the chat, there's lots of stories and experiences that may resonate with many of you about what it means to be a physician. I don't know anybody, and that includes the white people, that med school is easy. It's not. It's not meant to be easy. It is meant to be rigorous. It is meant to challenge you to the point, I would say, to your breaking point. Yes, people freak out in med school. They have panic attacks, they're on meds, and some of them unfortunately even kill themselves. I hate to say these things, but they are absolutely true. This is the most rigorous, likely training that you will ever have unless you train it for something in the Army. It is serious. And the reason it is because all of you at one point as physicians will be the person making a decision, likely life or death related for a patient. It will happen many times likely. Depends on the field you choose, more often than not, but it will happen. And you would hope that if it was your mama, your daddy, your sister, your brother, or yourself, that the person standing next to you has the adequate amount of knowledge, that knows when they don't know, can get the resources necessary, and can make decisions that will help you and yours. That's what it's about. So if you ain't up to snuff, I don't want you taking care of me or my family. That's important. And that doesn't mean just because you didn't get an A in molecular biology. Okay? Why is that, Dr. Gordon? She said something. I felt undergrad was much harder than med school. That's a good one. Why was undergrad much harder?
Because undergrad, like you said, like the general chemistry, the physics, it was just not tangible. When you get to medical school, you're actually like, talking about organ systems, and you're touching things, and well, you're not touching gross anatomy things anymore apparently, but it was just way more tangible. It was, undergrad killed me. Medical school is just doable, and that's just my experience.
It depends on the person, don't get me wrong, but I don't think Dr. Gordon would tell you that it's not challenging. You gotta work, okay? And MCAT programs, a lot of people are putting good stuff in here about MCAT programs and financing. And there's another school I always talk about in Detroit. Wayne State is a fantastic school. University of Chicago, Illinois, even though I know they're like, ooh, hooty. They're great programs. They're large programs. Some of the largest programs. Takes
a lot of brown people.
Absolutely. And Jefferson Medical, I forget. It's like 200 students, once like
Michigan
150.
State had
Yeah, Michigan State, we love them. They have taken 3 of our students over the past couple years, and they are thriving. The president, right, the SNMA president is our student, as well as her sister. I mean, Michigan State's fantastic. They've been doing a good job, but they were doing a good job before they took them, okay? So, and places where you might not think that there are not a lot of Black folks, like Iowa and Kansas and Nebraska. The reason is because they are small places. Minneapolis. And you're like, I ain't going there, because you're from California, that's why. So you leave this place and you will find that there's a whole nother world where people live and eat and breathe and all kinds of stuff out of California. So I want to encourage you to apply to those programs, because you'd be surprised that, why are they calling me? Anyway, that I think that it would be great.
I just want to echo on that. Hey everyone, my name is Bianca. I'm a 4th year neurology resident, doing fellowship in sports neurology and pain management at Cedars-Sinai Carlinville next year. I applied for med school in 2012. I applied broadly, just like Dr. Hines said. I'm born and raised from LA, so of course got my California schools. Applied to Howard, Meharry, Morehouse, and then I pretty much picked schools like Philadelphia, Houston, Atlanta, just places I thought I could live in. And even though in my mind I had it set to live in California, I just kind of let the interviews, what type of vibe I got. And I felt best at Howard, and that's where I ended up choosing.
I'm putting in my cell number right now so that everybody, I do this all the time, and I feel very blessed that nobody ever abuses me, not usually. And what that means is feel free to call me if you have questions or concerns, but please know that you gotta tell me who you are, because I don't remember all y'all, okay? Now, as I get to know you, then I know exactly who you are, I know your number, I know all that. And always encourage me to make sure I create a profile, because then I'll just be looking at your number going, who is that? Or text me and say, this is so-and-so, I was on the call for Sister to Sister, or I'm a member of ABWP and I have this particular question, okay? I don't have any problem with any of you having my phone number, go to, I'm on Twitter, but you know, I'm radical on Twitter because, you know, social justice, I say stuff that I say. And then, you know, but you can find me, you can contact me, I will help you. Now, a lot of you say, well, I need a mentor. I need someone to help me. I have hooked y'all up, many of you, with mentors, whether y'all like them or not. And then y'all don't ever call them because you're uncomfortable, you're embarrassed. Call them and say, Dr. Hines, give me a number, and I'm so-and-so, and I have a question about so-and-so. And if they don't have the answer, they will call me and let me know. Or if I don't have the answer, I will call you. We tried to do a formalized program where I had all these physicians, they're so sweet, and they said, I'm available to be a mentor. And then I matched people, y'all didn't never call. Okay, then I said, well, we have to make sure that you call at least this number of times a month, and then you have to sign it and write it. Then the attendings were like, I ain't got time for that. So what I decided to do was just make the entire organization available to you. So that both on this call, on the websites, on the social platforms, my phone number, you got a contact. You got a question, you can call me. And I think that's better than any potential program. That will really help you. You send me your application, I will read it. Okay? Other questions? I see Miami's in the house, Alabama, Atlanta, love it. New York, love it. Love it, love it, love it. I see one of my students, Opie, she's so sweet. What else? Other questions? 3:15, we got 15 minutes per se. I went all the way to 3:30 today. People always say they have questions and then they don't ask. Anybody want to ask some personal questions? We usually hear the stuff about getting married or when should I have kids? Anybody saying that, or y'all don't care right now? It's COVID, y'all ain't doing nothing. Just saying. I am a gynecologist, I'm just saying. Okay. Any other questions for me? Yes.
So I was wondering, so I have been hearing a lot of things as far as like the GPA for Kaiser is going to go up because medical school is free for the next 4 years. Is that seem to be the trend? Because I'm currently doing a post-bac program at East Bay, and yes, it's online right now, so I'm still in LA, and I won't be applying until 2022, and I'm just like, by the time I'm done, my GPA is going to be around 3.3 or 3.2. So I'm just like, is it worth it? You know, like, will I still have a chance? Or by then, is there going to be like all this crazy GPA, like 3.9, 4.0?
Look, I'm going to be on the committee for the next 2 years. I've been on it already 1 year. Okay, I got 2 years. So I got 3 of the 4 years that we are tuition free. And I am one of 3 Black faces out of 14 on this committee. And I am very biased. We're very clear about what our biases are. I'm biased towards women, Black people, women more than men. It is what it is. But my opinion is very, as best I can be, evidence-based. I'm very consistent with who I think is a strong candidate and who I think is not. If I said yes to every single candidate or every Black candidate, they'd probably be looking at me like, really, Hines? But I'm very clear about what I know it takes to get in, and it does not take a 528 and a 4.0 to get through med school, not even close. But I would say that someone who has strong, consistent B's and above in the science and all other strong, you in. And you got the wherewithal to think through when it gets hard. That's the thing. When you've been getting a bunch of C's and now you're starting to get A's and B's, but then you still get a couple C's more, it tells me that when things get a little tighter, when it's a little bit more rigor, you got a problem. And I need you to show us for a consistent period of time, you can do it. That's B's and above, B plus and above. It ain't gotta be straight A's, because I know that's impossible sometimes, but you gotta show, if you didn't show before as an undergrad, then your post-bac time has to be on point. You cannot be in a post-bac program or a master's program and get C's. You're wasting your time. Am I making sense?
Yes, you are.
All right, so that's and KP School of Medicine is not necessarily different from others. Our average GPA getting in last year was 3.7, and the MCAT scores, man, they were high, dude. 517, something like that. But we had people getting in at 505. We had people getting in 503. I was pushing for them. But just because you get in does not mean that they come to us, right? Because all these students, after a while, are the same pool of students throughout the country. And now everybody's pulling at them. And if you're Black and you're bright, you will have multiple offers. But you got to get yourself to that point. So your score's got to be good. Your MCAT's got to be scored. Keep in mind, the UC system, I don't think it's written anywhere, but if you apply more than 3 times, they won't look at your application. That's why every time you apply, I need you to be very clear that I think this is the time. Many people, including our non-Black candidates, have applied to med school more than once. So please don't think that just because you applied more than once that you ain't gonna get in. Not true. But it's the second time you apply that really makes a difference. Because yes, if you apply to the same schools, they hold your application, they know exactly who you are, and they put them up next to each other. And what's different the second time as opposed to when you applied the first time? Are your scores a lot stronger? Do you have different experiences that you want to talk about and that have added to your experiences and what you want to do? All that's going to help, okay? By the time you get to the third application, if you feel like, unfortunately, you didn't get in, now you got to apply 3 times. You know how stellar that application has got to be, okay? So all those things are going to be very important. And no, I don't have all the answers, but because I sit on the damn committee, I know exactly what it takes to get in. Even before I was at Kaiser, I did it for both UCLA. I did it for UCI College of Medicine, which is where I went as an undergrad, as a med school. So I get it, okay? And it's certainly a lot more competitive on the West Coast than it is on the East Coast.
I got it.
Okay. And there's another one. Somebody talked about Southern Illinois University. That's excellent. Anybody, more questions? Nobody want to talk about having kids in school? Because
well, I'm gonna talk about it. This is Nanachka, Dr. Chumley. I'm gonna talk about it because it's something I didn't think about because I didn't think I was ever old. I still don't think I'm old. And I think that's the mindset. Well, what I mean is, to have children, but there's so many innovative things. But if it's something, this is what I tell all my patients, not just medical students, if they're 30 or 29, about to turn 30, if you have any inkling in your body, mind, spirit, soul that you think you may want to have a child in the future, I would save my eggs.
Yes.
I would save my eggs if I had my doctor, if I had me for a doctor when I was 30, that's what I would have been telling me. And I probably have, at least one of my girls here that I still want. And yes, adoption is an option for some people, but it may not be for you. So if you have any inclination whatsoever, if you didn't listen to anything else I said all day today, if you have an inkling that you think you may want to have a child in the future, with or without a husband, doesn't matter. If you think in your body as a woman you want to have a child, please save your eggs. And I don't even have any money, but I'd be willing to try to help somebody save their eggs because I wish somebody would have said it to me way back when. So if you think you want to, don't let that be the deterrent. LaTanya is a witness. She was married and pregnant, and they tried to take her down, but I was right there supporting her 100% because they're already going to think something crazy about you anyway. But you can be married and pregnant and have a child, and they still think something's wrong with that. So if you want to have a child, or you think you want to have a child and be pregnant and carry your own child with your own egg, save them. It's worth every dime.
Can I piggyback on that, and then I want to hear the doctor's perspective on this, and then one more thing. So I think y'all who had babies in medical school are super women. I wouldn't be
Residency.
able to. Couldn't. Nope. So I waited, and I had my kids at 36 and 37. So, and I know a lot of people, after 35, it does get harder. So Doc, I want you to chime in on that part, but it's possible. And I've had, we know many a person who's had kids in their 40s, early 40s.
And I've delivered many of them.
Yeah. So she can let you know it's not impossible, but the freezing eggs thing, smart.
And I put in there $100, $100 to $200 a month. It can be really cheap.
Whew, okay. And since we're in a Black Lives Matters movement right now, understand that when you get to medical school, yes, you feel like you've achieved so much, but you'll still get broken down. So one of the students was asking me, how was the culture at UCLA back in the 90s? I guess it wasn't in your face like it is now, but we dealt with the microaggressions. So me and my sisters in medical school, we'd be walking through the halls in our coats, our doctor coats, and we would still get pinned as nurses, what are you in the nursing program? Are you whatever? you'll still get the microaggressions. You'll still get the people that don't want to associate. It doesn't change in medical school. When you become a doctor, it doesn't change. People still think we're less than. We think we've made the American dream, and still people still will think we're less than. We got to deal with it. We got to ride with it. We got to rise above it. And now is the time to speak up. When you see that crap happening, I'm sure there's going to be someone in the medical school who is going to be a mentor who will be able to bring it to the next level to say, you know what, this ain't right. Don't let this happen. Kaiser is working on changing all kinds of social injustices in our organization. I'm sure every organization right now is making an effort to do so. Do not speak up when you see something, hear something, or you're a victim of a microaggression, a major aggression, any outright racism, injustice. Say something now. It's not gonna change.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Dr. Gordon. If there's ever been a time, and I am 53 years young, that you could speak up and say something, this would be it. Now, I'm not going to tell you that if you're a medical student, that you are not vulnerable and that the potential for your letter of recommendation for a residency program or the way that you might be seen on a particular clerkship because you're a little socially justice aggressive, fuck them. Sorry, I got to say it. You know, you're already in med school. I mean, what can they do to you, all right? So be honest, be honorable, be amazing, study hard. You guys know when you feel like you can stand up and say something, and it's important to say something. Nobody said you got to be, you know, Malcolm X, but if you say, someone says something to you and you're like, no, well, I thought that was the doctor. Well, this is what a doctor looks like. Whichever way, but don't internalize it and feel like, well, it must be just me. That's a real common thing with Black students, both undergrad and med students, is that somehow, you know, it's imposter syndrome. We've all had it, have it from time to time, that you think that somehow, how did you get here? Did I not tell you about the genetic material in your veins, okay? Whenever you start thinking about that, somehow you earned it. Did nobody give you nothing? Every MCAT, every test, every board exam. Mother Mary ain't never come down and told me to answer to no test. So you need to know each and every day just how, like I said, exceptional you are, and that you have what it takes right now to do what you need to do, because you've already done the biggest jump, which is to get into undergrad. And for those of you who are still undergrads, you need to graduate. But I don't think that'll be a problem. You're trying to go to med school. So you got what it takes, you got the mental aptitude, and you got the academic prowess. We just need to hone it down and get it ready. Like I said, we are a resource. Please don't forget to submit the applications to us. For those of you who are exceptional students, I see some of my Stanford undergrads and med students on here. I see some amazing folks, and you're amazing if you're at Santa Monica College. So please don't think that I don't think, no, everybody good. But each person's pathway might be different. However, don't submit an application without at least one of us taking a look at it. We may be able to find some red marks on there, go, ooh, let's fix this before you submit it, okay? Especially the personal statement. We didn't talk about that today, but I can do that at the next Sister to Sister. We can go over personal statements. You guys can send them to me digitally and we can start reading them without your name and go over what is a strong statement versus how it could be stronger, because each statement is unique. It either enhances your application and makes us want to know more about you. And there's certain personal statements where we're just like, I can't believe this person put this together. Okay. So that's it. And Judy said something, IVF. Yes.
I think you mentioned it, LaTanya, but I want to say it again because I think it can happen it will happen and can happen in medical school and in residency. When you get in trouble, if you get in trouble, that's when you ask for help. Not a semester later, not 30 days later, not even 5 business days later, because it can make the difference of you moving forward, getting kicked out. All kind of crazy things can happen. So if you get in trouble, even if you feel in your spirit that you're getting in trouble, the time to ask for help is at that moment, and hopefully there will be someone at the school. If not, I will come straight back here to ABWP because we all have connections everywhere. We just don't want you to flunk a class or, you know, have a death in your family or anything happen and you wait, it'll get you in a lot of trouble.
Exactly. And the office politics of medicine are a lot, Black folks don't know it because you ain't white. And the reason I say that is because, you know, when they say, well, she just wasn't a good fit. Ooh.
Yeah, bull crap.
I love Yvette over there shaking her head.
We know what that means.
Let me tell you, we know.
We know what that meant.
And there are, and I think as an organization, we have been both the subject to that whole line of BS. And so we can help you to kind of pick up on the subtleties. Ain't nobody ever gonna tell you, I don't like you. I think you too uppity. Oh, you think you too good. Why don't you ask more questions? Why don't you ask less questions? Yeah, you definitely, wait.
You pro-Black, and I'm going on Malcolm X's birthday. So
you know that. So
or you're
we
just
could help.
confident.
Yeah, we can help you, okay? So you don't have to be quiet. That's important. A lot of people feel like, well, if I just don't say anything, maybe they won't notice. I guarantee you, being quiet is not going to serve you well, ever. I didn't say you got to speak up all the time and be fighting, but you do have to make sure that people know who you are. And of course, how academically brilliant you are, okay? If you don't know the answer to something, that's okay. You don't have to know all the answers. All right, so we'll help you with that. But yeah, there are some people that they just didn't figure it out. And residency is the main place where people don't figure that out, right? It's because residency is so much more a part of who you know and whether they like you versus in med school. You get in med school if it's about academics, but residency is all about connections. And by the time you get out of residency, it's all connection at this point, getting a job. So you've got to learn how to get along well with people, play well with others. Yes. Even Black people, that's another thing. Somehow folks think to Black folks, because I say all skin folk ain't kin folk. Keep that in mind. All right, it is 3:30. Somebody else had a question. COVID, racial, and the rest of the summer really brought health inequities and racial justice to the national conversation. Yeah, all the Black folks knew about it, but okay. I've heard Black medical students express concerns about lack of support in navigating these challenges. How is your medical response? Is your medical, I'm gonna say institution, responded to the concerns of students? Dude, Kaiser's been on fire. I'm very proud of that. Ask more than one person that question as you might hear different answers. Some may have no answers at all. Others may actually provide useful information. If no one can answer the question, take that school off your list. Oh, hell yeah, I agree. And also too, we as a group of, you know, African-American students or African-American people are not a monolith, right? You've heard that before. Some of you have parents who are physicians and professionals, and some of you are the first who have gone to college and the first who have decided you want to go to med school, and lots of in between. So all of those experiences and the financial blessings and or lack thereof make you who you are. And so when you're faced with some of these challenges in medical school or even undergrad, how you respond has everything to do with your experiences up until that point. I want to push this because my sister is amazing. This book, y'all can't see it, but it's called Howard Zinn, A People's History of the United States. It was introduced to us at UCLA undergrad. This book will set you free in the sense of information about what this country was truly based on, which is, of course, the exploitation of human resources for profit. But it tells it in a way from the people, not from Howard Zinn, but the people who actually experienced it, from the indigenous people all the way through to the Africans that came from the west coast of Africa. So clearly, y'all got plenty of things to do and not to read a 700-page book. But if you got questions, get educated, because the more educated you are about the amazing heroes that you stand on those shoulders, you will be a lot more empowered to speak clearly about what you're experiencing as an undergrad and as well as a medical student. Now, good old Oprah, you know, I done read this one just made me mad. Caste, y'all know what I'm talking about. But our caste system is not based on skill. It's not the carpenters and the planters and the whatevers and the skilled people. It's skin color. So it doesn't matter whether you are Magic Johnson or Oprah or Barack Obama, you're still Black. And so I don't want you to feel in any way that that is a hindrance, but I need you to understand the exceptional opportunity that you have to get educated about it so that you are able to face those challenges. I'll help you. Yvette will help you. We all gonna help you. I'll be quiet right now and go.
Okay, can I piggyback on what you said about
undergrad and medical school are about the books and about the smarts and about the grades. But when you get into residency, it does start with the relationships and building relationships. When you finish your residency, you're going to connect with your patients on personal levels. Those relationships are important to make you successful as a physician. They're not going to look at your, some of them will look at what school you went to, but they're not going to know your grades. They're going to know you graduated, but the relationships that you make are the most important thing in keeping you successful and keeping your patients healthy, because your patients, when they connect with you and bond with you, and that's why having representation as a race, you know, a lot of our people distrust the medical field. Seeing our faces makes them trust more. So I am successful in getting my Tuskegee Project minded patients to get their flu shot, just because I can connect with them and say, I understand that project. And that's not what's going down right now, as far as I know, but your relationship with your patients will make you successful. Your relationship with your patients will make your patients trust you and actually abide by your medical recommendations. All right, we're going to get our patients' diabetes and high blood pressure controlled way better than a white or an Asian person would, because we can connect with them and they won't think that we're trying to flip them the okey doke. You know what I'm saying? So relationships are important after you get your degrees. That's just, piggybacking on what she had said earlier.
Excellent. Excellent. Any other attendings on the line? I know Judy Hunter was in the chat and she said some amazing things. Any other attending that hasn't had an opportunity? Is this Valencia Walker that is at the Ohio University School of Medicine and has not said a word? She gone, she's somewhere. Okay. I see, I know she there, she ain't said nothing. Anybody else that wants to make a comment? We're there, it's 3:35.
Dr. Hines,
Hi, Mama.
Hi, I was responding in the chat.
Oh, okay. That's true. She has been doing some amazing things in the chat, but I thought you might want to hear her voice. She was, or still is, the amazing Dr. Walker, who is now at The Ohio State University, where she is applying her exceptional trade there. She left us, y'all. She left us. She left California.
Wow, that's how we're gonna have this conversation.
Yeah,
We are not gonna speak from a place of loss.
Yes, it's a place of loss in Ohio. Their gain, our loss.
No, I'm still here on the call with you right now.
Yes, yes. We love you. I just wanted the students to know that there were some great powerhouses on this call and that they too are resources that you can. I want to put in a push. I don't really scream that much at you guys because I know many of you just may not have it. But I think that this experience over this past hour and 36 minutes is well worth $10 a year, okay? And we only ask our students to pay the $10 a year to get as much information as they deem possible to get out of this organization. You get what you put in. So we have virtual meetings, which back in the day, we used to be at my house or Yvette's house, and we would we'd fellowship and we'd have food. Well, we don't have any of that now, but we'll get back to that one day. But in the meantime, we want you to call the attendings, call me, get that access and that resource, pay your $10 so that you really do feel like you're getting what you're putting in. And if you have some days when you just feel like this is rough and you just don't know what you want to do, you can call me and I will talk and listen. I should say, I will listen. My sisters taught me that I should listen more, talk less, and encourage you, but never give up on your dream. It's your dream, nobody else's. Okay. Anybody else? All right, guys, I'm going to leave you. You guys all got my phone number. So we'll put the chat. I'm not sure because Lauren's on the phone. She's amazing. We can cut and paste it or do something with it or give it to Verena and put it into the emails to the students. If you're not a student, I wonder, do you have access to it or do we just send it out to all the people who registered, Lauren? What are your thoughts?
I can do whatever you want. I can send it to everyone who registered. I was going to put the video on our YouTube channel.
Cool.
So either way, I can put the chat to.
I would definitely put the YouTube video. On the YouTube video, do you have access to the chat? You can see it? Maybe, maybe not. Probably not, I don't think.
And I can copy and paste it and put it, but I wouldn't want to put that on YouTube.
I agree. I think we should just send it. Let's just send it. The reason, here's what I'm getting at. So let me just tell you, because being direct. I think that if you paid money to be a part of this organization, you should have access to the chat and all the resources that we've given you, including my phone number. But if you didn't see fit to pay, or you feel like, you know, I'm just flitting about, you shouldn't get it. So, just telling the truth. But on the same hand, I want everybody to have as much resource and access as possible. So I think, Lauren, give it to Verena. She'll give it to all those students. You guys got all the students who are registered. Send it, okay? And then what we can do is for all those students, if I have shamed you enough, pay the $10 so that we can at least have you on our listserv, and you have the opportunity to know all of the wonderful events that we're having, because this is not the only event. We have several events throughout the year. And of course, the charity benefit is coming up on October the 18th. It's gonna be fantastic. It's a virtual event, and that's where you'll see 10 of your colleagues, student members, UCLA, not UCLA, but medical students getting at least $4,000 to $5,000 apiece scholarships. And we're so very proud to be able to do that again this year. Any other questions? I'm thinking the next Sister to Sister will probably be, I maybe don't know, the end of next month is usually based on my call schedule as best I can every month. And I'll be more formal. So I could do personal statements. I did interviews before. I can do personal statements, and maybe at MMI, y'all want me to do one, and I'll give you some tasks to do during the video, and you guys can, I'll put you to the task and you tell me how you feel, and then answer the questions that would normally be asked during an interview at med school. Sounds good? Katiana? I see a hand up. Hempstead, I think. I see
Oh,
you.
sorry, I was doing a clapping emoji thing.
Oh. That's how I know I'm getting old. I mean, is that clap versus that? Okay. Okay. All righty. Well, thank you so much, Yvette, for all of your contributions. Nanachka, you were just amazing. Thank you so much. Valencia, of course, I love you so much. You know that. Bianca, thank you. A former scholarship recipient, med student, and now resident. I'm so proud of you. I know Detriana, one of my daughter's friends, who's just amazing and bright. Some of these names I know, some I don't know as well. But I'm so very happy to see you all here. Danielle, who called me the other day. And we will do it again, okay?
Thank you, amazing fearless leader, Dr. Hines. Thank you so much.
All right, bye guys.
Bye.
Thank you, bye, great meeting, bye.
You go, bye.